Welcome back to another episode of Keene on Sports. It's been a long time, but the show is back. We got a returning guest in Solomon, Villanova's finest. Solomon, how's it going?
Good man, go Cass. That's all I gotta say.
Whatever you say, bro. And then we got Aiden Gonzalez, my fellow Nittany Lion. Aiden, you're a first timer on the show. You excited?
Oh yeah, man, can't wait. Let's get into this, bro.
Let's get the show started. We got a lot on deck today. We're going to start with Cleveland and their collapse against Indianapolis down 2-0. Then we'll move on to the Celtics crash, falling apart back-to-back games. I'm sorry, Solomon, that's rough. Then we got the Thunder. Lightning strikes for them last night, 43-point win. Most points in a first half in NBA history with 87. Great game. Then Curry, questions for the Warriors. Can they win this series without Curry for at least a week? And we'll close it out with some MVP talk. Is it SGA? Is it Jokic? Who's real MVP? We'll find out. But let's start in Cleveland. Cleveland down 2-0. They're heading to Indiana for game 3 tomorrow night. Indiana, after last year in the playoffs, they have the experience. They have been clutched down the stretch. Nemhard, Neesmith, Halliburton, bucket after bucket. They're playing some really good basketball. Cleveland's got the injury bug. No Mobley, no Garland, no Hunter in game 2. Had a huge lead, couldn't hold on. So now they face a daunting deficit. Solomon, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the series? How can Cleveland get back into it now heading to Indiana for game 3 tomorrow night?
Yeah, man, I think the Cavs kind of met their match here with the Pacers. I like the Pacers squad going into the series, and I thought it was going to be a tight series no matter what. I wasn't expecting them to not win a game at home in the first two games, but
Yep.
it's definitely going to be tough. I think the way that the Pacers are playing, the more balanced style, you got Halliburton leading the charge, and you got the wing players, the wing depth. You got the guys to kind of counteract a lot of the magic that Donovan Mitchell can provide. And I think if you don't have Mobley out there and you don't have Hunter out there and Garland, whether they're on the court or not, they're still dealing with a bunch of injuries. And it's a matter of who's healthy at the right time. And it looks like the Pacers are riding that wave. And I think they can continue to get a game or two home. I think the Cavs will fight back. I don't think it's going to be a 4-0 sweep.
Yep.
I think it's going to go 5-6, but I think the Pacers will put themselves in a really good spot to really compete to get to the East Conference Finals. And I think even when they get there, they're going to be a strong competitor too. So I think the way they've been playing defensively, the way we play as more of a team, and having Halliburton lead that charge, the way that they've been playing down the stretch in the clutch, I think has been incredibly impressive. And I'm really excited to see what they're able to accomplish now, given what they've started so far. And I think the Cavs have a long hill to climb. They got a
Sure.
lot of work to do. I don't know how they're going to 2-0 is not the end of the world, but it's definitely you're seeing the ends pretty close if
Yep.
they can't win a game. If game 3 goes to the Pacers, I think it's pretty much over. It's wraps. So I think the Cavs really got to fight, and they really got they really got to change something in the next game to be able to compete.
It's a
So
big hill to
excited to see what
climb. So,
happens. Oh yeah.
yeah, for sure. Aiden, do you agree with the notion that this series is not over yet, even though the Cavs have injuries? Obviously, now they're going to have to go to Indiana, right? And even a split gets Indiana to 3-1, right? So that's still a very large hill to climb, and they don't have LeBron James in 2018. This is going to be tough, right? To beat the Pacers playing confident basketball, you go down 3-1, backs against the wall. Cleveland has not been in the situation. What are Cleveland's chances going forward?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Haven't didn't get to catch the first game too much. Only saw that last bit of the second game, and really they should have closed out. There was at one point there was a missed call on a lane violation that on Siakam's last free throw.
Yeah,
Mitchell went down. That led to a putback dunk, but I honestly think Cleveland can get back one, two games, maybe. If they go down 3-0, it's probably wraps, to be honest. But I mean, like we've seen this before, Cleveland was a really solid team in the regular season. I mean, and even then, like last night's game or two nights ago, Mitchell had like almost 50 points. We see that if Darius Garland gets back, Evan Mobley gets back, if everyone gets healthy, maybe it can be done. I'm like just astonished that the Pacers are this good. I mean, especially compared to last year, they got
yeah,
swept in the by the Celtics, and they made like what no significant changes, right? Like I don't remember any big names signing,
yeah,
any big names leaving.
yeah.
So I mean, I honestly had them getting beat by the Bucks in like six. So
I
pretty
think it's
impressive they're
yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
Them going up 2-0, did not see that coming, but like I said, it's not impossible for Cleveland to come back. Like you said, they don't have Braun, in 2016.
Yeah.
It's doable though. I think they can come back. Maybe we'll see a seven game series here.
I think it's interesting because the Pacers are proving this idea. that you don't have to be the most talented, but if you play good, clean basketball, you have experience in moments that matter, you can still win basketball games in the playoffs. And the Pacers, by no means, are more talented than the Cavaliers. They're not. But they play good basketball down the stretch. They have a great offense. They play tough defense. And that was their hit on them last year. They couldn't play any defense. They're playing better defense this year. And they're playing the right basketball in the right moments. And this Cavs team reminds me of, remember Mitchell on the Utah Jazz? They were the number one seed several seasons with Gobert. Huge regular seasons, right? Like they were finishing number one seed, but what happened every year? Second round, they couldn't win it all. Sixers, same thing, right? Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, that formula worked in the regular season. 55 plus win seasons. Get to the playoffs, get knocked out in the second round. This Cavs team, to me, seems like a team that's built for the regular season. They have a lot of the right pieces, but when the moment comes, they can't put it together. And obviously, this is the first year under Kenny Atkinson. He won Coach of the Year. But there's something missing with this team. And it's not that, for me, I don't think Donovan Mitchell can be a 1A on a championship team. And I
Yeah.
understand he's put up 48. He can have big playoff games. That's okay. But I don't see Donovan Mitchell being that championship leader with that pedigree in the biggest moments. He can't do it for an entire series. And Mobley, first time All Star. Also, I mean, I got people telling me he's on his way to being a superstar. I don't see it. I just don't see it. And so the Cavs have work to do. I think the series is over. They might be able to steal one in Indiana, but Indiana is playing too good right now. They're too well coached. Tyrese Halliburton was voted the most overrated player in the NBA this year. Let's not forget that, okay, by his colleagues. And he has been unbelievable. He had the game-winning three-point shot, got the rebound on his own missed free throw, right? So that's commitment. They're playing really hard right now. I think the Pacers win the series. I'll say in six because I think Cleveland's going to have some heart, but I think they win the series, and that sets up really interesting matchups in this next round because we don't know if it's going to be Boston, we don't know if it's going to be New York, and that leads us to the Celtics crashing out now in back-to-back games. This is a really good panel for this because we got Solomon, the Celtics fan, we got Aiden, the Knicks fan, and then we got obviously myself, the Sixers fan who hates both teams. But it's interesting because the Celtics have now blown two 20-point leads, and the Knicks are the first team, at least since 1988, to come back in consecutive playoff games after going down by 20. And I want to ask, and we'll start Aiden with you this time, our Knicks fan. I'm sure you're thrilled with the 2-0 lead. Is this more about the Knicks earning these two wins? Are they playing themselves into these wins? Or is it Boston choking? Is it Boston not playing the level of basketball they need to play and that we're used to seeing them play? Who is it? Is this more about the Celtics' downfall or the Knicks rising to the occasion?
I think it's honestly a mix of both, but I'm going to be for real. It's probably a 60-40 split. Boston choking. I mean, if we pull up the stats, I think it's like Boston made 25 out of 100 three-point attempts.
Yep.
That's probably the biggest issue.
Yep.
Obviously, the Knicks gave up a 20-point lead, and if Boston wasn't choking it, then it probably would have been a 40-point win or
Yep.
not 50-point win, but like, the fact that we got into these holes themselves proves that like the Knicks still have some work to do. And we look at the first game, right? It was what, 15 of 60. Great defense for the most part by some players,
Yeah.
but obviously not all of the players. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a 20-point lead. And I think the other thing though, I don't even know if this is this lead, this 2-0 lead is it's what's the word? That we can keep it. I mean, if you look at the minute split, right? I mean, what was it? Mikal Bridges 51 points that first game, or 51 minutes, sorry, that first
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Everyone, like all our starters are playing like at least 38, 40 minutes. And our bench, let me pull up the stats right here, right? Well, what bench? Let's be real.
Well, listen, Deuce McBride is really your go-to.
McBride, McBride can be good. I'm not super convinced. He plays pretty good defense and he can hit some shots, but like he's not a, high volume shooter. He's not going to be dropping 20 every night.
Yeah, for sure.
Like his last game out, he had, 17 minutes, 5 points,
Yeah.
one diamond, one steal. Not
Yeah.
bad, not bad. But like, he's obviously not going to be a significant option. We don't really have too much of a bench unit.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Knicks right now, they're taking advantage of what Boston is giving them. I think that's the perfect way to sum up the series, right? The Knicks have not played great basketball, but the reality is they go down 20. Boston seems to think, oh, this game's over. We're just going to, shoot a bunch of threes early in the shot clock. They don't make them. And the Knicks find themselves, oh, wow, like you got Jalen Brunson, who I hate him because he flops so much. But the reality is he's one of the most clutch players in the NBA. I mean, he's down the stretch, there's a few guys I'm taking over Jalen Brunson. I mean, he's been unbelievable. And so that's part of the reason. Solomon, do you agree that it's around 60-40 Boston really, choking the series away? Or is New York, do they deserve more credit for what they're doing?
Honestly, I know this is shocking as a Celtics fan, but I kind of got to give the Knicks credit for what they've
Yep.
been doing in this series. I think, yes, Boston has been choking, and I think that comes down to coaching and some other stuff that they need to make adjustments on, especially on their three-point volume. But I think the Knicks have been incredibly like well put together for this moment to beat
Yep.
Boston. I think they have the squad of wing defenders and perimeter creation to be able to counter Boston's attack. And besides maybe the Thunder, I think they're the best team in the NBA that can match up against the Celtics. And I think you're kind of seeing that right now. If you're looking at these late game situations, who are these guys that are making big plays that are not, you don't have to necessarily score. Obviously, Jalen Brunson is their leader, but you're looking at guys like Mikal Bridges who are coming up defensively in the last, minute of the game. And those kind of things, those kind of defenders are important to have when you're going against the Celtics and these incredible wing scorers that Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are. And I think, just because I'm a Villanova guy too, I hate to see them doing this to my Celtics, but this is
Yeah.
kind of that Villanova brand of player that's kind of coming through is these hard-nosed, tough guys, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, these guys who are not going to quit fighting no matter what happens. And you're kind of seeing that grit and that intensity that Boston is not really
Yep.
prepared for. We're kind of seeing a more like flailing and they're trying to, complaining about calls and jacking up
Yep.
threes. It's the Knicks playing into their game versus the Celtics playing into the Knicks game. And I think when you're having the Knicks kind of controlling the flow of the game, especially in the second half or the last quarter, that's where they're kind of winning down the stretch. And I think, if there's a way for Boston to come back in the series, it's not to play into that Knicks game of trying to be more physical, trying to, go off one-on-one on a post up or isolation. The Celtics really got to change their approach, and the Knicks are doing an incredible job of trying to get the Celtics to play in their way that they're successful in. And I think if the Celtics don't change something soon, it's going to be over pretty quickly. And I think the Knicks have a solid shot of going forward. Not because I want them to or I'm cheering for them,
Yeah.
and it makes me mad, but I do think that this team is solid, and they've got some of the guys to be able to put up against Tatum and Brown that are giving them challenges, and you're seeing that in the game. You're seeing that late in the game too, and it's interesting to see if they're able to adjust in game 3 and 4. But if they
Yeah.
don't, it's going to be over more quicker than it's supposed to be.
I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, but for me, it's hard, right? I saw a stat. Celtics have been leading 81 minutes of the series, right? I think the Knicks were at 4 minutes or something like that. I mean, it's incredible, right? The
Yeah.
Boston, they have been controlling these games. And I think to say that, number one, the series, in my opinion, is nowhere near over. Boston, if they just shoot average, right? If they just make, you said they made 25 out of 100, they had 48 uncontested threes combined in both games, and they're making, I think it was like 25% of those. So if they make 30%, they're winning these games. And they're getting these 20-point leads. Madison Square Garden has not been nice to the Knicks, right? They're 1-2 at home this playoffs. They're much better on the road. If Boston can go in there and even steal one, I still think Boston, if anyone can come back from 3-1, it's the Celtics, right? It's because they're constructed with all this firepower. Obviously, Porzingis has not been healthy. Jalen Brown's knee, no one really knows for sure how he's feeling. Drew Holiday's been dealing he's a little bit banged up. But I think the series is nowhere near over. And Boston, this idea that it's like the Knicks have like earned this. I mean, the Knicks have played good basketball when it's been called for, but the Celtics have been the better team, right? They have shot horribly, horribly, but they've still been winning the majority of these games. So if they can somehow pull out two in New York, right? All the pressure's back on the Knicks, and the Knicks know that this door is open now, right? No one expected them to be up 2-0 in the series, right? Not even Knicks fans would tell you. I mean, they're all delusional. I'm sorry, Aiden, but the reality is you guys couldn't have seen this coming, right? And so Boston now, listen, they've had comebacks from down 3-2. They're down 2-0 in this series. It's not a big deal. Boston's been good on the road in the postseason. They've been a really good road team this year. I mean, do you guys think this series, are you more confident in the Knicks closing this out, or do you think the Celtics are still going to pull out this series? Solomon, what do you think?
I still think the Celtics are going to pull it out, kind of like you said. I think, we've talked about their subpar three-point shooting, and last year when we won the title, we
Subpar is an understatement. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, it's true. I know, but like last year when we won the title,
Yeah.
We were shooting above 35%, and that's how we won the title. It's pretty simple. It's like a
Yeah.
very simple equation. I think if we're able to shoot the ball better, we're going to win the games.
So you're saying
And
don't change the equation. Stick to it.
I think stick to it. I think, when you watch the games, it's not necessarily that we're getting bad shots. I mean, we're getting some bad shots down the stretch. I'll give you that, but we're putting ourselves in that situation. But throughout the game, we're getting open looks, we're getting open threes. They're gonna fall eventually, right? That's
You
what
hope so.
happened last year.
Yeah.
So why do I have to doubt that? I think, it gives me some worry because if we're not hitting them now, like we gotta just change something maybe,
Yeah.
switch out the rotation a little bit. But I think I have faith in my team. I think we were able to pull it back. I'm not super worried. I think we're gonna have to prove ourselves at MSG, but I think,
Yeah.
if we're able to just shoot average, like we don't have to,
Sure.
it doesn't have to be incredible like it was last year, but
100%. Yeah.
we just got to scrap out a win here and figure it out. And I think we're going to be okay.
How confident are you, Aiden? You're the Knicks fan here. How confident are you that you're going to be able to hold off these defending champs?
I mean, I went into this series thinking like maybe like it's probably gonna be Celtics in five. I don't think we were gonna get swept. Like we can probably get their shots stop falling, you know, through and probably see like Knicks in six, Knicks in seven. But I'll obviously that can also be Boston in seven. So I can really see this going either way, but my flat out guess it's always gonna be Knicks in six. What kind of Knicks fan would I be if I'm not a little bit delusional?
I respect it. I'm the same way as a Sixers fan. I think the Sixers are getting Cooper Flag. I'm gonna stick to that till the lottery tells me otherwise. But I think the key for this series, and there's one guy I'm waiting on, is Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, for some reason, every time he wants to play Philadelphia, he wants to turn into prime MJ and drop 50 in Game 6 and destroy us in Game 7. But the reality is, Jason Tatum has been horrible in these first two games. And you're watching down the stretch last night. I don't know what he's doing. I just don't get it. Like, he has Mitchell Robinson on him. He dribbles back into more defenders. Anunoby comes over. Bridges comes over. You're fading away. You can't get a good shot like that. And then you're trying to pass it with 2 seconds left to Jaylen Brown. I just don't know what he's doing. And he's so pivotal, right? And this is a year for him to prove it. He got benched for Team USA, did not play any minutes. He won the gold medal, but it wasn't because of him. Last year, Brown won conference finals MVP. He won the finals MVP. Tatum didn't. This is supposed to be Tatum's moment to say, like, this is my team, and I need to show like my pedigree because I want to be the face of the NBA, and he's not showing it. So if they're gonna turn this series around, it's got to be Jason Tatum. It's got to be a big game in Game 3 to change the tone, shift the momentum, give Boston something to build on. But a team who did change the momentum was the Oklahoma City Thunder, who lost a really tight game with Aaron Gordon hitting a clutch three-pointer, his second game-winning shot of the playoffs. Aaron Gordon's on a heater right now. But OKC lost that first game at home. It was a bit of a gut punch. You think, how does this young team respond? Well, they knew how to respond. They came out Game 2, scored the most points in a first half in NBA history. That's 87 points in the first half. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. They go on to win the game by 43. Solomon, we'll start with you. Does this series now shift back to the Thunder? Obviously, they're going to Denver. Denver can be a tough place to play, obviously. High altitude. Denver, they don't have the greatest fans in the world, but it's going to be a rowdy environment. How does OKC handle that? And, what is the series outlook going forward?
Yeah, I think it's kind of shifted back into the control of the Thunder. I think, for one, the Nuggets are really only here because of like two back-to-back game winners, and not to
Yeah,
discredit Aaron Gordon or anything, because those are incredible game-winning shots, but
for sure. Yeah,
they're getting in by the skin of their teeth, and you can kind of tell that um, on the Nuggets side that things are kind of dysfunctional. You look at the sidelines and Jokic is screaming, and I don't know what's going on in Denver right now, but
yeah,
I feel like in terms of the Thunder, when you're watching that game in game two,
yeah,
you're seeing a team that is built comprehensively, where everyone is being able to contribute in an effective way,
for
and
sure.
guys are getting open looks. We're playing well on defense, and the Thunder look just overall as the better team.
For
Yes,
sure.
the Nuggets have Jokic, but the Thunder look so cohesive. And when they're playing
Yeah,
like that, and they're just able to get good shots everywhere from all these different guys, and they have incredible depth. They have a lot of different options to throw at the Nuggets, and they're really just mixing it up. I really like the way that they're able to play right now. I think Hardenstein has been able to be a good body that's able to just be a presence against Jokic. You're not going to stop Jokic, just be there in front of him, right?
yeah,
And you got some of the other guys, Jalen Williams and Isaiah Joe, and all these other guys on the Thunder roster who are really providing a little extra punch and just a couple threes here and there. They don't have to score 20 points, but guys contributing 8, 10, 12 points.
for
And it's
sure.
coming across the board. And I think if the Thunder are able to get that consistent depth and consistent bench production throughout the series, I think it's going to be really tough for the Nuggets to respond because they got really five guys who they can play, and after that, it's over. There, you can
Yep.
if this series goes 5, 6, 7 games, I think the Thunder are going to be able to pull it out just on bench depth alone, and if
Yeah.
not, I think the Thunder are going to win in 5, 6 maybe. I think they just have the overall stronger team, better coach, more cohesive, more together. And I think come playoff time, I think that's the formula that's working nowadays is you got to have the more cohesive, the better team that's just more put together. And I think that's what the Thunder are at this moment.
Yeah, no disrespect to Russell Westbrook, but I don't think he can carry this load, especially for entire playoffs, let alone this series, right? With a really good Thunder team who plays strong defense. I don't think he can carry that load for just himself for the bench production. Um,
Yeah.
but obviously OKC playing really, really good basketball, a lot of great depth. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had an MVP performance, right? After they got punched in the face in game one with a really bad, I mean, it's not a horrible loss in a way that you get blown out, but it's a horrible loss in the way they were leading. They should have won that game. And they had, Aaron Gordon hits a good shot. Aiden, do you think Oklahoma City now has this series on wraps? Now that they, took Denver's best punch in game one. Now they can move forward. They were undefeated in the playoffs before that. They swept the Grizzlies. So that was really the first adversity they faced, and they came out of it even a stronger team. They winning by 43. Do you agree with, Solomon that OKC now has this series pretty much on lock if they can keep playing this way of basketball?
Yeah, I think OKC's got this down. I mean,
Yep.
Solomon mentioned something about they have a better coach, and I want to touch back on that because if we all remember, Denver fired Malone a week or two before the playoffs for
Yep.
whatever reason at all. I feel like when you do something that drastic, all your
Yep.
cohesion goes down. There's no locker room presence or authority. Solomon
Yep.
also mentioned that Jokic is yelling at his players on the sideline as if he's the coach, as if he's like the top dog, but like
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't work. Like just because there's
Sure.
like locker room problems. And when you don't have cohesion on the locker room, how are you gonna have cohesion on the floor? And another thing, Jokic doesn't play defense. You and I were talking about this before we started recording. Jokic doesn't have enough haters because like, he is granted one of the best offensive players the
Yep.
league has ever seen. That being said, it doesn't matter how much your offense is. Let's see, he had like what? Actually, he had a pretty bad night by his standards, right?
Yep.
17 points, 8 boards, 6 times on 6 of 16 shooting.
Yeah.
Too good for him.
No.
And of course, like once you figure out, and sorry, circle back, that's a big part of Isaiah Hartenstein, right? He's a
Yep.
big presence. He's tough. He's gritty. We saw that with when he was on the Knicks versus in the last season's playoffs. We saw
Yep.
that. Of course, he did get injured for a bit, so didn't get to see too much.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, OKC 5, maybe OKC in 6. It really depends on
Yep.
if we can see Russ and Jokic go like big together.
Yep.
I don't see that happening though, especially because it's really going to be Jokic and Russ. We all see that like oh, Jamal Murray is one of the playoff risers or whatever. Like
Sure.
oh, he's going from 18 points per game in the regular season to 24. I have not seen too much from him this
No.
series.
No, Jamal Murray, listen, Jamal Murray gets his credit. He has great playoff games here and there. Consistently, though, he's not a great Robin, right? They won the championship with him. He had a pretty good playoff stretch. But again, if they were going to win this series, it needed to be Jamal Murray playing that year. When they won the championship, it was because Jamal Murray was playing unbelievable basketball. You're talking about top three guard in the world. He has not been doing that this playoffs. And that was the only way they were going to make this series a long one with OKC or even think about winning it. And because that's not happening, I think OKC, I think Denver might squeeze one out at home, get it to 2-2, but I think OKC comes back. They win at OKC and they take game 6 in Denver. I'm thinking it's going to be OKC in 6. But again, great sign for a young team. They lost game 1. Is the first time they faced any adversity this playoffs because Memphis wasn't even close, despite what Moran says. And they took it. They won game 2 big time, and now Denver has to respond on their home floor in game 3. Moving on though, the other series in the Western Conference, game 1 was pretty interesting to say the least. Timberwolves absolutely dominated the Lakers in round 1. Came out in game 2 in round 2 and couldn't even shoot. They couldn't buy a bucket. Okay, it's plain and simple. horrible shooting night. Anthony Edwards was terrible. They lose after Curry was ruled out for the rest of the game in the second quarter. Now Curry's going to be out for at least a week, which is going to be 3 games at least. And then they have a nice stretch because the WNBA from I think it's the 14th to the 18th, so it'll be a long gap before Game 6. Gives Curry a chance to rehab. What is the outlook for the series now, Aiden? We'll start with you. Can the Warriors still win the series without Curry for at least the next 3 games?
I think they can take 1 or 2 games. I don't know if they can go close out the series right here without Curry. It really depends on how the other stars on the Warriors play. Butler, and I don't like to say it, I don't like Draymond.
Yeah,
Draymond, that
yeah,
the small ball approach that the Warriors have works because they have Draymond, who's like physical. He asserts his presence on the court.
for
The
sure.
Lakers didn't have that, so that just allowed, when we saw the Laker or the closing game for Lakers Timberwolves, Rudy
Yeah.
Gobert was just, I mean, getting sent home by Rudy Gobert is another kind of embarrassing, let's be real.
You know it's bad when Gobert is putting up 27 and 24. I mean,
It's
oh
ridiculous.
man,
Oh my
you
God,
can't make
that's
him look that good. We just can't make him look that good. Like the Lakers deserve to go home just for that. But
yeah.
Solomon, do you agree with that? Like, do you think that the Warriors can take another game here and extend the series? Because that's what Aiden was saying, right? If the Warriors can extend the series and give Curry a chance to come back, then they can win. Obviously, like Aiden said, I agree. I don't think they can win the series without Curry the rest of the way. Like they're not gonna be able to win now 3 more games without Curry against the Timberwolves. But do you think they can extend it with Buddy Hield? Let's give him a shout out. He's balling. He came to Philadelphia late a dud. Super upset. There's actually a fact. It was Buddy Hield shoots 85% on catch and shoot threes. 85%. And he shoots 11% on off the dribble. And what do the Warriors do so well for Steph Curry? The cutting, the passing, the Draymond Green setting up Curry. If they can use Buddy Hield that way and Buddy Hield keeps shooting like that off the catch and shoot, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win the series without Curry 100%, but they could 100%. Now they're going back. They're going to be in Golden State for games 3 and 4. So they can still win on those. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that. I think this is why you get Jimmy Butler, right? Jimmy Butler
100%.
is the guy in the playoffs who you just
Yep.
say, "Hey, Jimmy, we need you for game 2 tonight," and you just got to ball out. And sometimes that's what you get from Jimmy. Like that's what he's known for. And I
Yep.
think he has the ability to at least carry the Warriors until Curry gets back. I think if he's out the whole series, I don't know that the Warriors win it, honestly. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be really tough, but I think they have enough of a structure to be able to like keep themselves floating a little bit. Now, if it gets tough if you're going down 3-1, if the Timberwolves come back in the next 3 games, I
Yep.
think any 3-1 deficit is obviously tough to come back from, even if Curry comes back. But
Yep.
I think if you're able to pull off a game and keep it like if it's like a 2-2 or you win
Sure.
more than that, I think there's a chance the Warriors are in it, and can definitely survive and win. I think honestly, I would pick the Timberwolves still because I don't feel confident in how soon Curry's gonna get back, and I think I love Ant as a player so much that I
Yep.
think he is as good as anyone else in this league, and he can definitely take over a series. And I
Yep.
think if you give him that shot like he's getting right now, then he can definitely be able to produce. And it's
Yep.
interesting to see what's going to happen because I know that the Warriors are very historic franchise and they're going to definitely have a coaching advantage and they definitely have some
For
experiences
sure.
advantage. But I just love Ant as a player so much that I have confidence in him. Not to say that I'm picking, not to say that I'm not have doubts in the Timberwolves, but I think I still would
Yep.
favor them at this moment just because of Curry's injury. If Curry's not injured, I'd take the Warriors 100 times out of 100. But I'm
Yep.
feeling a little more confidence in the Timberwolves now. But I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Edwards did not have a good game 1. Again, he has that instinct though, and I think it's
Yeah,
time for him to make that next step. I feel like he's closer to becoming the face of the league than Jason Tatum is, even though Tatum already has a ring. Anthony Edwards just has the aura. It's sort of like Shea has it. With Anthony Edwards, it's all the trash talk, right? It's after the game. It's taking down KD last year, it's taking down LeBron this year. Now he wants Curry, right? He talks all of this and he wants the smoke. Game 1, clearly the play didn't match the talk, right? Struggled. Everybody on Timberwolves struggled. They need to bounce back in game 2. They need to take game 2. They even have home court in the series, so they need to take game 2 at home before it heads to Golden State and at least go 1-1 split. But Aiden, do you agree that the Timberwolves are still, I mean, with the Curry injury especially, does that make them the favorites to win this series?
The series, no, I don't see it. I like Ant or all right. I'm gonna be honest, he's not even my favorite player on the Wolves. It's got to be Julius Randle. Former Nick.
Oh, I hate Julius Randle, man. I can't.
He's
I
the
just
GOAT.
any love for Julius Randle, I can't. I can't accept it. But I'll let you continue.
Like I said though, I can definitely. It really depends on how they perform tonight, right? Or at whenever it is tonight or tomorrow. I don't remember. Ant really needs to show up. I mean, what was it? It was 9 of 22 from the
Yeah,
field.
not a great game. Slow
Is
start, especially.
abysmal. Oh yeah, because he was like 0 for 10 from three on the first half, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
think they had five threes total the entire game. I mean, it
Oh,
was
yeah, that's true.
yeah, it
17
was yeah,
from three.
not a good game. Yeah. We'll see. I think Timberwolves obviously for them. I mean, we said Boston would shoot as bad in game two as they did game one. Unfortunately, they did. Timberwolves now don't have any excuse, right? Curry's out. Like, if you're Anthony Edwards, you got to be looking at the situation like, man, I can get back to back Western Conference Finals, right? This is Jimmy. Like, it's time for playoff Jimmy though, right? We all saw him in Miami. This is why they brought him, right? They needed a superstar alongside Curry. Jimmy Butler is very capable of going off for a 40 piece. He can do it, but we need to see it, right? Him and I will say I love the dynamic right now between Butler and Hield. I'm sure you guys have seen all the videos on social media, right? Like they're having such a good time. I think the culture on the Warriors is really good. And when you have a good coach like Steve Kerr, you can never count them out, even without Curry. And so if Butler and Hield can play together, right? If Hield can become Robin and Butler Batman, I think that's gonna allow them to extend the series, not win it without Curry. But if you get it to 2-2 and Curry comes back, then that's anybody's series, right? That's much better than 3-1 and having the Timberwolves win three in a row before Curry has to come back. But we'll move on to our last segment. It's who's the real MVP. Real quick, we'll start with Solomon. Solomon, give me your quick take here. Who do you have winning the MVP? I saw someone say it should just go to whoever wins the series between Jokic and Shea. But who do you think? Obviously they've both had phenomenal seasons. Who do you think is the real MVP this season?
Yeah, man, I gotta say Jokic. Honestly, I think he is one of the greatest players to ever grace the face of the basketball court. And I'm
Huh.
gonna be straight up. I know we're tired of Jokic winning MVP. It's the most boring pick ever, but I don't care. This guy statistically
Yeah,
is having again one of the most insane seasons he's ever had, and one of the most insane seasons the NBA has ever seen. I'm just looking at the stats right now.
yeah, yeah,
He averaged a triple double with almost 30 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, which is the most assists he's ever in a season. He averaged in terms of the it's single season win shares, not win shares, no PER.
yeah,
Nikola Jokic has the fourth best PER season of all time behind
yeah.
Giannis, Wilt, and himself in 21-22. And that's
Behind
insane.
himself.
And by himself, if you look at the top 10 box plus minus seasons of all time, Jokic has five of them, and this season has the second best box plus minus season of all time at 13.28 behind his 21-22 season. Like this guy is ridiculous. He does not stop. His advanced
Yeah,
stats, his box score stats, no matter what you look at, I know it's boring, but you got to recognize greatness when it's right in front of you. And
yeah,
this guy statistically is having again one of the greatest seasons of all time. And
yeah,
continue to prove why he's one of the greatest players of all time, period. And I love Shea. I think what he's done and what the Thunder have done is incredible. But
for
I
sure.
don't know. I think he's definitely the face of one of the faces of the NBA going forward. But the way that Jokic contributes value to the Nuggets, it having
Yeah.
an insane all-time season. If he's not on that team, I guarantee you the Nuggets are going to be picking first in the NBA draft this year because Jokic is the greatest player. He's the best player in the league. He's one of the greatest players of all time, and I think he's certainly the most valuable player this season.
A lot of Jokic love coming from Solomon this morning. Aiden, are you gonna match that love or are you going Shea?
I'm gonna be real. Like I said earlier, I don't like Jokic. He doesn't have enough hate. That being said, it's got to be Jokic, right? Like I'm a
Wow.
firm believer that MVP really means if you take a player from the current team in, if that team performs worse, significantly worse, like the Nuggets would, that means he's the MVP. If you take away Shy from OKC, they may perform like a little bit better, but they're still gonna be playing playoff basketball. They're gonna be like probably top five seed. And like comparing his stats, right? Jokic. He beat in the playoffs. He has Shea beat in almost every statistical category. If we look at the regular season, He's like you said, averaging a triple double. He's got 29.6, 10.2, 12.7. Not just that, he's got more steals. He's plays more minutes. He's more efficient too, which is wild, right? He's a center. Even from the 3-point line, Jokic 41.7% from three, SGA 37.5. I don't want to give it to him because it's
Yeah.
boring. We need more players in the NBA getting looks at for MVP, but it's probably going to be Jokic again this year.
I hate hearing about Jokic, man. I hate it. I honestly I can't tell you how frustrating it is for me to hear both of you say he deserves the MVP. I just can't take it. And like I Jokic, I've never seen someone so unathletic, but be so good at something. I just you if you walk on the street and you see them, you're like, man, that's a big guy right there. But you would never say, oh man, that guy looks like he's a great basketball player. Like I know I can run a faster mile than he can. Like the dude's Joel Embiid, I love you. All right, you're my guy. You're the best center in the NBA. I'm standing by it. Okay, I'm standing by it. But Nikola Jokic, like I'm gonna give him some love because it's incredible. Like he is the offensive hub of the Denver Nuggets, right? He touches the ball every possession, whether he brings it up, whether he's like atop of the key. Like this is Jokic sets up the entire thing. And I saw something really funny, and it's a little bit concerning too. I saw the Nuggets interim head coach David Adelman. He's like, I use a paper and pen, but Jokic is grabbing the whiteboard during timeouts. And they're like, yo, are you okay with that? And the coach is like, man, I hope he grabs it 15 times a game. I'm like, you're an interim head coach trying to get a head coaching job. Like, you really want your player grabbing the whiteboard and like overruling you like that? Like, I don't get that dynamic. But again, he sees the floor because if you're not athletic, you got to be able to see the floor, and he does it almost better than anybody ever. That being said, though, I'm gonna go Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I think part of it is I think not enough goes on to team wins and losses, right? I think the Thunder, I can't penalize. I can't take both of them off their team and say, okay, what would happen, right? I can only see what happened. And the Thunder won, what was it, 65, 66 games this year? Or more than that. Like they were incredible, right? And so the Nuggets being a little bit lower in the standings, obviously they still finished, what was it, four in the Western Conference. It's still great. But I have to take that into account, right? If you're winning 15 more games than Nikola Jokic was, I have to go Shea. And he had an incredible scoring season. I like scores, right? When I watch just like a player play, like that's part of the game I like. And so I guess maybe that's part of the reason I'm saying Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Plus, he's had great years now. It's sort of like the Embiid idea. Jokic is winning, winning, winning. Embiid had a great year, right? Some people still wanted to give it to Jokic, but Embiid's year was so good, like it wasn't a problem if you gave it to him. So, in my opinion, right, whoever it goes to, they're going to deserve it. Jokic has been incredible. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander also been incredible. So it'll be his first. I'll be really happy for Shea if he gets it. If Jokic gets it, I won't be so happy. But at the same time, it's sort of that I understand. I understand why he's getting it. He had a great year. It'd be interesting, right? Because it's going to be announced, I think, during this series who wins the MVP. So it almost might benefit the player who doesn't win it more, right? Because this is going to be a tight series, you'd think. If Shea doesn't win it and say Jokic gets it, that might light a fire under Shea. He wants to drop 50, 60 in a game. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to watch that first game after that announcement's made because I think even Jokic, who says he doesn't care about it, you're playing against the guy right in front of you. Like, let me show you how valuable I am. So, great playoffs so far. It was the first time every home team lost in the second round of game one. And so this is,
Wow.
I hate not being able to watch my Sixers right now. And because they're usually at least in the second round. Like, at least they give me something to watch for a couple rounds. But I will say it's been pretty entertaining. And so I'm excited to see what happens. We'll see what we're going to get. Boston, New York, I wish you guys both of you the best of luck. I'm still thinking Boston's going to pull this out. But we'll have another episode soon. And we can, we'll talk about what happens. But I want to thank you guys for joining us today. That's going to wrap up Keene on Sports. And I hope all of you, join us next time for our next edition of the show.